Have you ever wondered what the world would be like if dinosaurs had never existed on Earth? So far, many videos have been released about dinosaurs, showing their lives, their anatomy, and their struggles for survival. But until now, no one has said what impact they had on the planet. You might think that dinosaurs were just a bunch of giant reptiles that went extinct a few million years ago, and now there is no trace of them. But no, the truth is that they shaped the world, not just with their power, but with their very existence. They changed ecosystems, created forests and rivers, and even changed the climate. And it's interesting to know that some of their effects still remain on Earth, from the reign of Tyrannosaurus to the greatness of Argentinosaurus, from the flight of Pteranodon in the sky to the footprints of dinosaurs on millions of years old rocks. We are going to embark on a strange and real journey together to the heart of the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods to see how dinosaurs worked miracles on Earth. We live in a world today that is the result of millions of years of natural change and evolution. But you might be interested to know that one of the main designers of this Earth was dinosaurs. In this section, we are going to understand together how dinosaurs changed the Earth by walking, eating, and even sleeping. Herbivorous dinosaurs like Brachiosaurus and Argentinosaurus ate hundreds of kilos of plants every day. But this was not just eating, it was a kind of modification of nature. They redesigned forests, eating large trees, making way for smaller plants to grow. And this meant more diversity, which meant life became easier for other animals. On the other hand, the footprints of millions of dinosaurs on Earth created paths that rivers later passed through. They shaped the earth beneath their feet. They moved the soil. They changed the course of nature. Carnivorous dinosaurs weren't just hunters. They maintained the balance of populations between species. And that balance is the mainstay of survival. Even dinosaur poop was part of nature's design because it spread plant seeds, which led to the expansion of forests. So if you see a river today, or a forest full of trees, or vast plains, you might not believe it, but part of that was because of what dinosaurs did. If you think that only rain and sunlight make forests grow, I suggest you take a look back at the Earth's past, because in this video, we are going to talk about dinosaurs that were building forests without even knowing it. Giant herbivorous dinosaurs like Diplodocus, Apatosaurus, and Titanosaurus devoured huge amounts of leaves, branches, and plants every day. But the interesting thing is that this non-stop eating turned into a productive cycle. They swallowed plant seeds with their food, and then, without digesting them all, they threw them on the ground with their feces when the seeds were spread back into the soil, and unintentionally, but effectively, this process helped nature. It is interesting to know that the soil that these dinosaurs enriched with their feces was extremely useful for plant growth. When the soil was full of nutrients, plants grew faster. In addition, the constant movement of these dinosaurs allowed light to reach the forest floor. By eating the branches above, they allowed smaller plants to grow. And you might not believe it, but sometimes a herd of hundreds of these herbivorous giants would rebuild an entire area without even realizing what they were doing. They just ate, went, and came back to survive. But the result was what we call a forest today. When you think of dinosaurs, you probably think of a giant, emotionless monster. But what if I told you that some dinosaurs were not only hunters, but also smart and strategic hunters? In this video, we're going to reveal a big secret. How much did dinosaur brains really do? Did they fight on instinct, or did they also have a plan and tactics? For example, in the case of the Trelodon, a small dinosaur with sharp eyes and a relatively large brain, it can be said that it could predict the escape route of its prey. Or some raptors, like the velociraptor, attacked in groups, just like modern wolves. Contrary to your imagination, they didn't just run after their prey, but first ambushed them. Then one by one, they made their prey run away, while the rest blocked the way from the other side. That means they had some kind of cooperation and planning. And now you're asking yourself what this has to do with forest restoration. To put it simply, they were the first unwittingly intelligent hunters on Earth, and perhaps the founder of what we now call a hunting strategy that most animals today use and continue to survive. Think about it. If dinosaurs had never walked the Earth, what would the Earth be like now? Would today's animals still exist? Or would we, humans, have never existed? In this video, we're going to take a big step back to a world without dinosaurs and explore the huge impact they had on the future of the Earth, and by shaping forests, plant growth, climate change, and even mammal evolution, they set a completely different course for nature. If they hadn't existed, Earth might have been a dead, motionless planet, or a hellhole full of unknown reptiles. Every dinosaur footprint, every bite they ate, and every place they went set off a chain reaction in nature, so much so that their absence could have destroyed the entire future. This event isn't just about the past, it's about our present, because they indirectly and unintentionally had a huge impact on our nature. And even if they hadn't existed before the meteorite, the likelihood of life ever emerging on Earth would have been very low. No one would have thought that one day the skies would be conquered by creatures whose ancestors were once the largest predators on Earth. But the reality is much stranger than imagined. In this video, we are going to see how, over millions of years, a specific group of dinosaurs gradually evolved into what we all know today: birds. The story begins when some predatory dinosaurs, such as velociraptors, had features such as feathers and light bones, things that at that time might have been useful for keeping their bodies warm or for display and balance. But a small change at a certain moment changed everything. This is exactly the point where one of the greatest miracles of evolution happened. Monsters that ran on the ground took to the skies, but this flight was not easy. This path, over millions of years, created modern birds from some dinosaurs, and from the wildest creatures, the most beautiful flights. And most importantly, are there still birds among us that have traces of their prehistoric ancestors in their appearance and behavior? Have you ever wondered how dinosaurs evolved into birds, or why they went extinct? The answer to many of these questions can be summed up in one thing: competition. During the Cretaceous period, a silent but breathtaking battle was going on between dinosaurs, not just to survive, but to build a future that they themselves would never have. Each dinosaur, with its different body shape, behavior, or even size, had a strategy. Some ruled with their strength like Tyrannosaurus, others with their intelligence and agility like Velociraptor, and others with their small feathers and tiny bodies like Deinonychus. But this competition wasn't just between predators. Even herbivores like the Tyrannosaurus and Ankylosaurus were in these battles. They had to defend themselves from dangers with their armor, horns, or heavy tails. Each generation, only the strongest, smartest, or most adaptable survives. Interestingly, without these competitions, dinosaurs gradually evolved, became smaller, lighter, and eventually flew. They didn't fail, they just changed course. And these are the ancestors of today's birds. When you look at a dinosaur bone in a museum, you might just see a piece of dry, old rock, but that rock is like a door to time that holds a story that goes back millions of years. Fossils aren't just bones, they're traces of their lives, from how a dinosaur walked to what it ate, how it hunted, and even how it died. These silent fragments have helped scientists reconstruct Earth's past, but the story doesn't stop at the past. fossils show us what climate change has done to Earth, including how extinctions have occurred and how much our future might resemble the past. Today, we're learning from nature through fossils, from dinosaurs that fought heat and cold, enemies and famine, and some even lost, but some forged the path of evolution. Even technology has not lagged behind fossils. With 3D scans of bones, scientists have reconstructed the sound of a dinosaur walking, or even the strength of its bite. And even today, everything we know about dinosaurs and everything about the past comes from these fossils. When we think of dinosaurs, we usually think of their hunting, power, or gigantic size. But there is a hidden truth. Dinosaurs were not only influenced by the climate, they also influenced the climate of the Earth. Imagine millions of herbivorous dinosaurs, such as Brachiosaurus or Argentine and Saurus, eating several hundred kilograms of plants a day. This huge amount of nutrition caused changes in the vegetation of the Earth, the decline of trees, the release of greenhouse gases, and even the increase in the temperature of the Earth. All these were the results of the activities of these creatures. On the other hand, dinosaur waste produced gases such as methane that had a direct effect on the Earth's atmosphere. Some scientists believe that this methane caused the climate to warm up at times. That is, dinosaurs not only lived with the Earth, but also changed it. But it wasn't all about the heat. When the dinosaurs went extinct, plants grew again, the climate changed, and the Earth entered a colder period. That means even their absence had an impact on the climate. Today, scientists are studying layers of soil and fossils to understand how the life of one creature can affect the entire planet, just like we humans are doing to the Earth right now, and we are polluting our permanent or current habitats day by day. 65 million years ago, a brief but fateful moment marked the end of millions of years of dinosaur life. A meteorite shook the Earth, lit up the sky, and then total darkness. But the big question is, did that meteorite cause the extinction, or were the dinosaurs already on their way to extinction? Scientists say climate change, volcanic activity, and even a decline in genetic diversity also played a role in their extinction. So the world was full of warnings before the meteorite hit, but they weren't heeded. Now let's look at today. Extreme climate change, pollution, species extinction, and resource overuse are all happening again. Just like the dinosaurs, we're seeing the signs of danger. But the question is, do we react, or do we wait for the next meteorite? The lesson of the extinction of the dinosaurs is not just about the past. It is a warning for the future. They perished in all their power and glory because they could not adapt to change. But we still have a chance. This time, unlike the dinosaurs, the choice is ours. Do we want to be part of the future, or just another page in the book of extinction? You might think that the return of the dinosaurs is only for movies, like the movie Jurassic Park. But what if I told you that science, very quietly, is heading in the same direction? In some labs, scientists are looking for intact DNA from dinosaurs. Some are going to well-preserved fossils. Others are going to living descendants of dinosaurs. Birds, for example. Chickens are a living example of the dinosaur lineage. Some researchers have been able to manipulate genes hidden in chickens and activate traces of dinosaur claws, tails, or teeth. Genetics is no joke these days. Technologies like CRISPR allow us to edit genes, and if we ever find the complete DNA of a dinosaur, it's just an experiment away. But the question is, should we bring them back or not? Are we ready to live alongside these giant animals? Science may be able to bring the dinosaurs back, but it is our hearts that must decide. Or are we going to face the past again? Or are we going to let them remain just a legend?